Hey guys, you're in a nutshell with me, Ina. Nako, okay, ang gobyerno ng Canada nag-announce ng kanilang plano para paigtingin ang border security. Yan ay siyempre para tutukan nila at ayusin yung problema ng mga tumatawid, lalo na ng mga illegal immigrants dyan sa kanilang mga border. Pero kasabay ng announcement na yan na ginawa ni Immigration Minister Mark Miller, nako, eto na, may kasabay na mga malalaki na namang pagbabago sa iba't ibang mga immigration policies. At yan po ang ating pag-uusapan in this episode. Kasama ang nagbabalik, of course, ang ating suki, si Dayanara M. Puerto Bantigue. Her contact information will be down there at the description box if you need it. So don't ask na. Huwag yun ang tanongin sa comment section, okay? Thank you so much, Dayanara.
No problem po. No problem, miss.
Okay. Ayan, so kahapon lang nga in-announce to, no? At buti na lang available si Dayanara to talk to us about this. So merong 4 main announcements, no?
Apo.
Okay, sige, you can pick anything you want. Ano gusto mo unahin natin pag-usapan?
Siyempre po yung pinaka, I think yung pinaka crucial, especially pagdating sa permanent residency is yung removal of the points. Yung pinag-usapan natin nung nakaraang video po, Miss Ina, na they will be removing yung points associated with LMIAs when it comes to permanent residency sa express entry. Usually, as per before po kasi, applicants for PR can claim 50 to 200 points depending on their occupation, depending on the job offer. Pwedeng makadagdag ng 50 to 200 points sa kanilang express entry score. Kapag meron silang LMIA job offer, or if the company they work for, or if there's a company offering them like a job with LMIA na attached, that's 50 to 200 points. And yun po yung dahilan kung bakit na ibebenta yung LMIA for such astronomical prices. Last time I read, the highest I read is probably $70,000.
Grabe, no?
I have clients who were able to get it for 10,000, 15,000, and then some na ganyan, tumataas sila. Siyempre, yung mga kliyente ko, hindi naman lahat ay nagiging successful, pero siyempre, merong nagiging successful. At pagka dumarating sa akin ng meron ng ganun, wala na akong magagawa. Ayun eh.
Oo.
So, pero,
and they really pay that amount also because malaking factor sa kanila, ibig ko sabihin, yung points that come with the LMIA.
Yes, for a lot of them, it's what allowed them to get their invitation.
Ayun na nga eh. Actually, yung tanong ko nga eh, marami bang umaasa sa 50 points, especially at this point, no? Na I think parang ang daming nakaabang sa mga pag-draw ng mga PNP. Yeah. So how big of an impact do you think will this have sa mga applicants?
I would say siguro if I'm going to put my practice as an example, I would say 1 out of 10 only. Hindi ganun kadami yung applicants for PR na nagbe-benefit. Because honestly, Miss Ina, hindi rin naman ganun karami yung company na nag-e-effort to apply for LMIA. Kasi po yung proseso ng pag-apply ng LMIA is so tedious that not a lot of companies would actually spend the time and money to apply for it, except for those companies na talagang yung skill na hinahanap nila is so high, so specific, na talagang wala silang mahanap sa Canadian workforce na pwedeng mag-perform nun. Or yung location nila is so remote na hindi talaga sila pinupuntahan ng mga Canadian workers. So we're talking, Nunavut, yung mga nasa Yukon area or Northern Ontario, Northern BC, yung mga Vancouver Island areas na hindi sila basta-basta pinupuntahan ng mga tao, kaya nakakapag-apply sila ng LMIA. The LMIA process itself is so hard that LMIAs na pwede mong gamitin for PR are so few na medyo na hindi ganun kadami yung applicants na nagbe-benefit dito. If I'm just referring to my practice, most of my clients who are applying for PR, they are going for PNP, provincial nomination, or yung mga special programs like Atlantic Immigration, or yung bagong launch na rural immigration class. So, yun yung most of the time talaga natitake advantage po nila.
Paano yung mga, Diana, let's say those who arrived here 1 or 2 years ago, na direct hire, yung mga sa food service, mga cooks, mga ganyan, nakalamiya sila. Naku, malaking bagay ba sa kanila to? And yung mga nagtatanong, naku, makaka-apply pa ba ako ng PNP Express Entry? May pag-asa pa ba sila doon? Ibig sabihin?
Depende po, Miss Ina, sa una nilang score. Naalala niyo po nung nag-compute tayo ng score? Like when I broke down the scores for you for a person na ganitong edad, ganito yung language test ability, ganito yung tinapos, ito yung score niya. Madadagdag doon yung 50 to 200 points kung may LMIA sila. So, depende pa rin sa score mo talaga. Kung ang score mo ay nasa 350, kasi may edad na or mababa yung language test scores na nakuha nung nag-exam sila, yung 50 na yung idadagdag na yun, it doesn't really give a lot of advantage. Kasi mababa na yung score mo to begin with. It matters a lot dun sa mga, yung CRS nila is nasa borderline, nasa mga 480, 490, na kapag dinagdag mo yung 50, aabot sila dun sa general draw ngayon na nasa 540. Okay. That matters a lot to those generally younger applicants, generally those with Canadian education, Canadian experience.
I think one of the main goals of this specific policy is to avoid yung pagbibili o pagbebenta din ng LMIA. Tama, no?
Opo, parang it's a deterrent now na, okay, you cannot use this as a selling point anymore.
Yeah.
Opo.
Okay. Well, anyway. Sige, that's the first one. Let's move on to the second one. May tatlo pa. How about the flag polling? No more flag polling. Okay, ipaliwanag nga natin kung ano yung flag polling na yan. Maraming gumagawa niyan sa atin.
Just to clarify po, Ms. Ina, it's not implemented yet. I believe there's no final word for this yet.
Even for the LMIA pala, guys, baka nagtatanong, yung effectivity nun, can you explain to us? Wala pa yatang sinasabi.
Wala pa naman pong sinasabi, wala pang guidelines, hindi pa siya, kumbaga, bumababa. Parang officially. So, ito ay mga balak pa lang nilang gawin. So, kung let's say, dumating yung LMIA mo anytime soon, na ngayon, hindi pa dumarating yung guidelines, you can probably still use it.
Get 50 points.
And get the 50 points still. Kasi yung system ng, they will be changing yung express entry system para matanggal yung 50 points na yun. They will be revising it. They haven't done that yet. And it will take some time. With flag polling, ito po yung usually na nagagawa ng ilan sa ating mga kababayan na kunyari mag-a-apply sila ng post-graduation work permit, lalabas sila ng Canada, gupunta sila sa border, iikot sila sa US, sasabihin nila sa US border officer na I'm just flag polling, so iikot sila, babalik sila pa ng Canada, and then pagbalik nila, ipoproseso po ng CBSA or ng Canada Border Services Agency, if I'm not mistaken, CBSA, yung kanilang permit para ma-print yon. Hindi na nila kailangan dumaan dun sa normal na proseso na tumatagal ng ilang linggo or ilang buwan na mag-a-apply sila sa IRCC. So, advantageous po ito dun sa mga, kunyari may hawak ka na LMIA, gusto mo lang makuha yung work permit mo, mag-flag polling ka para pagbalik mo, hawak mo na yung work permit mo mabilis. Yeah. Advantageous para dun sa mga malapit nang mapaso yung kanilang yung hawak nila ng mga permits or visas. Pero last time I checked, prevent na nilang gawin yon sa PGWP. Hindi na pwedeng mag-flag polling applicants. That has been, kumbaga, mandated already. Ito pong flag polling na ito is for all applications now. So that means study permit applicants, visitor visas, yung mga nagpapa-extend ng kanilang visitor record, yung mga may hawak po ng LMIA, na ayaw lumabas ng bansa para iproseso yung work permit nila sa ibang bansa, gusto i-flag polling na lang para pagbalik, meron agad work permit, all of these will not be allowed.
Yun na nga.
Honestly,
ang nangyayari kasi doon, tama, Diana, parang napipilitan ngayon iproseso na yung pending application.
Yes.
That's what's been happening.
Hindi naman po talaga kasi, kumbaga, hindi naman talaga kasama sa trabaho ng CBSA yun to do the assessment. Kunyari po, kapag ang isang tao ay nag-a-apply ng work permit gamit ang LMIA, trabaho ng visa officer na i-assess kung kaya mo ba yung trabaho na nakalagay dun sa LMIA. hindi yung trabaho ng CBSA officer na gawin.
Oh, okay. Nung nasa border officer mismo.
Na nasa border, na parang ang nangyayari is napipilitan sila kasi ayun ka na, ito ka na. Nasa harap na nila. So napipilitan sila ngayon. Everyone now will have to go through the regular process and apply online.
Yun na nga. Ang tanong din dyan na, Dayanara, some people do it because, they are becoming impatient. Gusto nilang mapabilis nga yung pag-respond sa kanila. So, what do you think of this, this new change in policy considering the backlog sa waiting time ngayon ng paghihintay? Kasi ang sabi nga ngayon, wala silang choice, kundi mag-apply online. How long is it taking na ba nowadays, at least sa clients mo, para maka-hear back from IRCC?
With PGWP, it's not unusual to have 4 to even 9 months of processing. Kaya nga, magamit na gamit yung maintained status eh. Kasi yun yung hawak ng client habang hinihintay nila yung result. Months and months, definitely. Kalalabas lang nila nung naglabas sila ng parang special open work permits para doon sa mga kasabay namin, Ms. Ina, na nag-apply noong 2021 na hindi pa rin PR hanggang ngayon. So, yung TR to PR pathway na nilaunch noong 2021, na yung program po na naging daan para maging PR kami ng asawa ko, ay meron pa ding backlog hanggang ngayon. Kaya nag-release sila ng special accommodation na magbibigay sila ng open work permit para doon sa mga naghihintay pa rin since 2021. Para hindi na nila kailangan umuwi ng mga bansa nila or Pilipinas, kung Pilipino sila. Yun yung ganun katagal, Miss Ina, yung backlog.
Wow, grabe, no?
From 2021 pa. Or even 2020. It's really the pandemic. We have to be pandemic.
Sino pinaka-affected, do you think, dito sa no more flag polling policy? Ibig sabihin, will there be people who may be forced to be out of status because of this? May mga ganun ba?
Possibly, opo. Especially yung mga malapit na matapos yung kanilang permit, naghihintay silang dumating yung LMIA nila, balak nilang mag-flag polling na lang para makuha nila yung work permit, di na sila uuwi ng bansa ng kanilang home countries. Siyempre po, maapektuhan sila kasi parang nagiging shortcut process yung pag-flag polling na hindi mo na pwedeng i-avail ngayon. Kailangan, let's say po na visitor ka, dumating ka sa Canada as visitor, it so happen na nakahanap ka ng LMIA, kailangan mo na talaga ngayon umuwi. Kasi hindi na pwedeng i-process permit sa loob ng Canada. Hindi ka na rin pwedeng mag-flag polling. Sila yung...
Doon sa una mo na sabi pala, hindi ba sila maging implied status no, Dayanara? Kunyari yung mag-expire yung permit, may pending application, something like that, yung una mong nabanggit.
Opo, magiging implied status po sila kung makapag-apply sila ng work permit nila na valid pa yung luma nilang work permit. Para po ba na, kumbaga, meron po akong nakita dati na isang araw na lang yung natitira eh. Isang araw na lang yung natitira sa permit nila. Pinili nila na, naka-PGWP. Naka-PGWP, hindi na yun ma-extend kasi Miss Ina yung PGWP. Kaya pinili nila na mag-flag polling na lang, hawak nila yung LMIA nila, hindi na sila nagpa-implied status or anything. Nagka-problema nga sila actually sa border nun eh. Kasi parang, I believe the border officer gave them like a misrepresentation charge. Kasi parang ang sabi is, this is your status, why are you now asking to change it? Ganyan-ganyan. Depende rin po kasi sa matatapatan mo na officer doon sa border. They're not all kind. They're not all, it's not gonna be a smooth process for everybody.
I see. Tapos, sino yung mga mapipilitang umuwi at bumalik? May ganun ba? O lumabas pa ng bansa?
Visitor visa, for example, na gustong mag-apply ng LMIA, ng work permit through an LMIA, hindi na sila pwedeng mag-flag polling po ngayon. They have to go home.
Oh my gosh. And then fly back. And gastos din pala talaga, no?
Yes, yun po yung yun actually yung isa sa advantage sana ng flag polling. Hindi mo na kailangan umuwi, hindi mo na kailangan magbayad ng isang immigration consultant. Diba? Parang dala mo yung document mo, mag-flag polling ka. And for some borders, Ms. Ina, okay naman siya. For example, yung border na nasa mga remote areas like Quebec or New Brunswick, hindi sila ganun ka-busy. Pero kung ikukumpara natin yung mga borders ng Niagara, border sa Ambassador Bridge, yung border sa Sarnia, busy borders yan. Ito po actually, pakiramdam ko, itong flag polling na to, tinanggal nila, it's mainly to the benefit of the United States. Kasi,
actually, nabasa ko din yan, tama. Naiinis wala daw yung mga US border officers when they, have to do administrative work for these people, flag polling people.
Yes. Kasi parang, technically po kasi ang nangyayari, you get denied. Parang you get refused entry to the US, pabalikan ng Canada. So, hindi naman po yun, hindi naman siya iikot ka lang. Siyempre, tatanungin ka rin ng border officer, what are you doing? Sabihin mo na, I'm gonna be flag polling. I-record ka pa rin nila. There's still some tasks that they have to do. Let you into the US and then out. So, and as you can see, Trump is kumbaga, threatening Canada and Mexico with tariffs. So it's a big deal, which is why Canada is now tightening their borders. It's part of that kumbaga, answering to the demands of specifically Donald Trump.
Correct. Parang ito ang kanilang way to appease and hopefully deter itong threat of tariffs niya kasi ang laki nung sinasabi ni Trump na
i-impose. It's still a political move at the end of the day.
Okay. O sige. Now, again wala pa pong date of effectivity to as of publishing guys. We don't know if it's gonna come out. The announcement maybe in a few days or next week.
In a few days or in a few weeks, we'll probably see it. And mas detalyado siya na ibababa.
Okay. May isa namang din policy. Ito na. Pinangako ni Mark Miller na bibilisan yung processing for asylum claims. Specifically, I think for those considered na medyo mababa naman doon talaga yung chance na mapagbigyan. Ano bang mababang chance? How do they determine that usually ba, Diana?
Well, I would say, isa sa paraan is, ano ba yung dating status ng taong ito? Ito bang taong ito ay pumasok sa Canada as a student, as an international student, na naging post-graduation work permit holder, na nagkaroon na na-expire na yung kanilang PGWP, so now they would apply for asylum. Yun yung characteristics usually po ng mga fraudulent asylum claims. Yun yung pattern na titingnan nila ngayon. So, I don't know if they're going to use AI or if they will bring down like a set of guidelines para sa mga visa officer na kapag ganito yung sitwasyon ng tao, automatic refuse. So they can do that.
Oo nga, automatic deny. Tama ka, no? Kasi nga, ang isang recent issue is yung international students applying for asylum. Siguro lang, hindi namin sinasabing sure, baka sila yung most affected by it.
Opo, sila
baka ma-consider na silang automatic misrepresentation and then denied.
Then denied, and then banned for 5 years. Misrepresentation usually parang lands a person, gives a person a ban from entering Canada for the next 5 years and possibly for the rest of their life.
Wow.
That's how huge misrepresentation is. Yung mga meron din po kasing napag-usapan po natin dati na nag-a-apply ng fraudulent work permits just so they can get to maintain status. Isa rin yan, posible nilang i-assess next time. Pero sa ngayon, malaking problema po kasi yung asylum claims. Isa kasi yung issue dyan, Ms. Ina, is bakit ngayon ka lang nag-apply ng asylum?
Correct.
Aral ka sa Canada ng 2 taon, nag-PGWP ka ng 3 taon. Bakit ngayon ka lang nag-apply ng asylum? Anong nagbago sa sitwasyon mo? Kaya kailangan ka namin i-grant ng asylum sa Canada. Kung hindi yun kayang i-defend nung applicant, then it's very easy for them now to justify yung refusal na ibibigay.
Yeah, kailangan talaga siguro, no? Kasi may mga magsasabi, may change of circumstance in my home country while I was studying here, etc. I mean, posible pa rin siguro nga mapagbigyan, but it's just gonna be really, mas magaling ka dapat siguro mag-defend.
I mean,
doon sa post-change of circumstance.
They will have to submit yung tinatawag po na BOC or Basis of Claim Form, if I'm not mistaken. Yun ang magiging cornerstone ng application nila kung ano naman po yung nakalagay sa kanilang BOC or Basis of Claim Form. Yeah.
No. Okay, but I guess the good news kahit papano is hindi naman po mga Pilipino madalas ang tinutukoy dyan sa problema ng mga nagpa-file ng asylum. Thank God. Oo nga, no? Oo. Okay, o last na. Nako, ito. Sa totoo lang sabi ko kay Dayanara, medyo ito ang, ano ba, gusto ko, pinakagusto ko dun sa mga in-announce. Bibigyan daw ng, ano ba, more powers, more authority ang Canada to cancel existing visas. Cancel visas,
Cancel application.
cancel applications, suspend visas and other issuances when, ito yung ano yun for cases deemed in the public interest. At ang binanggit na example ni Mark Miller ay halimbawa daw may mass fraud na nangyari. Nako, yan ang pinakagusto ko kasi for me, ang intindi ko dyan, correct me if I'm wrong, Dayanara, no? Dahil nga may reports, halimbawa, na ang daming natuklasan, 10,000 or more, gumamit ng fake documents when applying for, to study, fake letters of acceptance. Pag na-enforce na ito, nako easily, ika-cancel na lang sila, ganun ba yun?
Yes, it's well, I wouldn't say easily. I wouldn't say that Canada would chop and then hindi naman po siguro ganun kabilis, but my guess here is they would be implementing legislative changes or legislative amendments dun sa batas mismo that covers immigration in Canada. It's called IRPA, Immigration and Refugee Protection Act. At the end of the day po kasi, kaming lahat, immigration lawyers, immigration consultants, even IRCC and CBSA, we all answer to IRPA. And temporary permanent resident citizens, we all answer to IRPA. Like anything immigration-wise in Canada, doon siya nakatali. So if they plan to do massive changes, give more powers to IRCC and CBSA, then it has to be sa IRPA manggagaling. Diba?
Yun yung i-amend. Okay?
Kailangan nilang i-amend. Opo. And ang example na binigay po nila is mass fraud. They didn't really, they weren't so detailed about what they mean by mass fraud. Pero over the years, we do see cases gaya nung, I believe, hundreds of Indian students who were discovered na gumamit ng fake letters of acceptance, fake school acceptance letters to get their study permits. Luckily, nung time na yon hindi naman sila basta-basta pinauwi. Iba kasi sa kanila, Miss Ina, PR na nung time na yon. So, luckily, hindi sila ganun kahigpit noon. But we don't know what's gonna happen ngayon kapag napag-alaman ka nila. And I think you covered this in a video na they are asking for documents.
Correct.
Diba? They are asking.
Meron ka bang clients na meron ka bang clients na baka nahinga ng documents ngayon?
Oh no, I'm very happy. I'm very happy. I have a lot of international students na clients working with mostly international students na nasa Canada na ngayon. I've never received an email. Luckily, because most of the time Filipinos were quite afraid of that, and I'm so happy to say na legitimate naman po yung mga letters of acceptance na natatanggap nating mga Pinoy. Probably 99% of the time. So for my personal experience, no, I haven't had a client po na tinawagan niya, pinatawag at hininga ng mga dokumento.
Yeah. What do you think is the main goal of this pala, Dayanara? Considering na, if you think about it, actually, nabanggit ni Dayanara to before we recorded, na meron naman in a way dapat talagang authority in Canada. Ang Canada to suspend or cancel whenever they see fraudulent, means na, if they feel that a document was secured fraudulently, parang ganyan, permit, etc. Wala pa ba sila nun? Parang dapat meron naman talaga, di ba?
Meron na po, miss. Pero siguro yung proseso kasi hindi ganun kabilis gawin. What they want to do now is to speed it up. Parang bilisan ito. Dahil I believe the Liberal government is receiving a lot of pressure from the other parties na how do you ensure na alis sila kapag napaso na yung kanilang permit? How do you ensure na kaya mo talagang sawatahin itong mga nanloloko, taking advantage of the system? So it's really more of, I think, the goal is to speed things up. It's not that IRCC doesn't have the power before. It's just that it's a longer process that they want to shorten.
Yeah, I think ano yan alam mo naman dito sa Canada, in any legal process, para ang dami mong pwedeng para yung due process na kung tawagin kumbaga sa Pilipinas.
Human rights.
Yeah. Ang daming mga siguro gumagamit ng due process na yan dito to extend their stay, to delay the process. Siguro this is one way for the government to address that. Kasi nga ang daming dahilan para i-extend pa yung mga proceedings or something like that siguro.
Opo. Isa rin is may concern kasi ang US dyan na parang ang daming mga prohibited goods or materials na nakakadaan sa border ng Canada papasok sa US kasi po the Canada-US border is the longest undefended border in the world. Wow. So it's Canada is the second largest country in the world. US I think is the fourth. So ang haba nung border na meron na hindi naman talaga defended. Walang mga militar, walang police na talagang regularly ay naka-defend doon. Unlike, let's say, yung border ng North Korea and South Korea,
grabe naman.
Hour secured, diba? Pero yung border ng Canada and US, it's long and it's undefended. And natitake advantage yun ng mga gustong magpasok ng mga kontrabando mula sa US, mula sa Canada, pababa, Mexico, pataas. So, US probably wishes na kung gaano ka-defended yung border sa Mexico, ganun din dapat yung sa Canada. Yeah. Kaya nga po, after mag-talk ni Minister Miller, I think somebody talked dun sa video na ang sinasabi, we might be renting helicopters, we are receiving higher funding to make sure na kailangan na makakapag-hire sila ng hundreds more of CBSA officers to help with border security.
Correct. They're definitely making an effort now to beef up security dyan sa border. So yung sinasabi ni Dayanara na undefended border, nako po, hindi na siguro yan na magiging sitwasyon in the coming months.
It's not gonna be the same anymore. There are cases din po kasi, Ms. Ina, na may mga namatay May mga namamatay. There was a case of an Indian family with 2 children na tumawid sila ng border, I believe, in Manitoba. Nawalan sila ng gas, I believe, in the middle of the journey. Winter yun.
Oh my God.
They died of hypothermia, I believe, in the car.
Speaking of winter, nabanggit din yan di ba, ni Minister Miller, na warning yung mga illegal immigrants crossing the border. Nako, delikado rin kung gagawin nyo yan, lalo na pag winter time.
Yes, most people po kasi, those who will try, they believe na yung border ay less defended kapag winter. Kasi nga malamig. So, syempre, less defended siya. Kaya nga din po trinay yun nung family na yun, nung Indian family. Kaya nila trinay during that time. Ang dami namang ibang time na pwede. Pero trinay nila during winter. And that unfortunately led to their passing. It's dangerous to cross the border during the winter kasi Manitoba is really cold. It's all flat lands. Kaya, tapos tatawid sila papunta sa US kasi they believe dun sila makakakuha ng mas magandang buhay.
Yeah. Okay. Ito, in closing na lang, Dayanara, with all these new batch of changes, ang concern naman, ang tanong actually naman ng marami, will this actually lead to people going home quicker na lang Kumbaga yung sinasabi kasing naku, maraming mapapauwi daw, lalo na starting this 2025. Are all these, you think, geared towards making sure na uuwi yung mga talagang dapat umuwi? Parang ganun bang mangyayari dyan? Nang mas mabilis yung tanong doon.
Yes po, Ms. Ina, there's a clamor from the general, from general Canadian public to ensure na immigration. Kasi syempre po, ang dami kasing pumasok. So parang the clamor from the public is you have to ensure na kung marami kayong pinapasok, marami rin kayong palalabasin kung hindi na sila legal dito sa Canada. And I think a lot of people in Canada know at least one person at TNT. A person and nandito pa rin sa Canada. It's a practice that has been present for a long, long time.
Yeah.
And what Canada is doing by increasing the funding of the CBSA, by giving more powers to IRCC, is ensure na hindi ito magiging laganap at hindi maaabuso yung system na meron tayo, yung resources na meron dito sa Canada, na hindi ito mapupunta doon sa mga wala ng status, mga illegal na sila dito. That's one, I would say. Two is to assuage the concerns of the United States. Mainly, it's still political in my opinion. Part of it, part of these changes, is still political in nature.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, alam mo last na lang. Merong mga nagme-message sa akin na out of status na sila, Dayanara. Hindi na-reject yung work permit, and then yung isa sabi niya, in-advisean siya nung kanyang consultant na mag-apply ulit, yung mga ganyan. Is that the same advice you give to those na maybe if you have clients na sabi din na decline? Parang to me kasi it sounds like they're buying time lang talaga, no?
Opo.
What's yung real talk ba? Ano ba ang chances pag ikaw sa panahon ngayon ay biglang ma-reject ang work permit? You apply and apply, talagang bang may big chance pa rin na eventually ma-approve, ma-extend?
Definitely. I have a client na asawa ng isang PGWP holder na na-refuse. Nawalan siya ng status. We had to apply for restoration. She had to stop working for 4 months. Dumating naman po yung restoration niya. Approved naman. So, my advice will always depend on the situation of the client.
Case to case.
Kung yung client ay merong basihan para makapag-apply ng restoration at makapag-apply pa ulit ng work permit, either asawa sila ng isang PGWP holder or work permit holder, or asawa sila ng isang Canadian, for example, nakapangasawa sila ng Canadian, so nag-a-apply sila ng sponsorship, or meron silang hawak na LAMIA, na LMIA na kumbaga valid pa. By the time na na-refuse sila, pwede pang itry ulit. Those are all basis. Parang magiging basis ko na i-advise sila, sige, try natin yung restoration. Kasi nawalan sila ng status eh. Basta within 90 days po dapat. Na nawalan sila ng status, dapat makapag-apply na ng restoration. And then, syempre, susunod sila, hindi sila mag-work, hihintayin talaga nila na dumating yung kanilang work permit. Then, I see no problem there. I see it as an application worth trying again. Pero kung wala kang basihan, at mag-a-apply ka lang para mapunta ka sa maintained status, yun sa akin is a problem, and I never advise that to clients.
Ay, okay. Yun guys ha. I hope I think we discussed it extensively naman, itong bagong changes again. Thank you so much, Dayanara, for your time. Again, her contact information nandyan po sa description box. So if you have other questions, I don't know, put them down there sa comment section and we'll see if we can answer it in the
Yes, I would usually check. Kapag po merong question na pwede ko namang sagutin, I would usually reply. Pero kung hindi, and if you feel like you really need a consultation and you really need someone to sit down with you and discuss your specific situation, just book a consultation. Doesn't have to be with me. Could be with another consultant or lawyer that you trust. Pero sa panahon po ngayon, you really need help as soon as possible. I would advise kahit nag-aaral pa lang, international students or work permit holder na kadarating pa lang sa Canada, magpa-consult na po kayo kung okay ba tong PR na to, may kailangan ba akong gawin. Huwag niyo pong hintayin na malapit nang mapaso yung inyong mga permit bago kayo humingi ng tulong.
Yeah. Okay. Guys, we will end this episode here. Again, Dayanara, thank you so much. Sige, hanggang doon muna. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!